Western Cape Community Safety MEC Albert Fritz has resigned from his position as DA leader in the province. The party had given him 24 hours to provide reasons why he should not be suspended from all activities. This comes after he was officially sacked from the provincial cabinet. Premier Alan Winde based his decision to fire Fritz on the findings of an independent investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. Winde says the probe found enough evidence to indicate a sustained culture of sexual misconduct, alcohol abuse and grooming. All right, for more on this, I'm now joined by Ashor Sarupen, the DA's Deputy Chairperson of the Federal Council. Ashor, good evening and thank you very much for your time tonight here on In Focus. So has the Federal Council had sight of that independent investigation by Jennifer Williams, and what were your conclusions when you looked at that report?
We have not had sight of the report itself. Obviously, would not go to full Federal Council. The way the process has unfolded is that we have referred the findings to the Federal Legal Commission for investigation. And part of that process is, of course, that what we found in this report, or the findings we were given from the Premier, was this was of such a serious nature that we thought it prudent to suspend Mr. Fritz pending the outcome of an investigation by our Federal Legal Commission. And we gave Mr. Fritz 24 hours to give us reasons as to why he should not be suspended. He subsequently notified us that he is resigning as a member of the Democratic Alliance altogether as a consequence of that.
So what informed your decision to suspend him before investigations were concluded?
The nature of the allegations. I mean, the party takes sexual misconduct extremely seriously, and we do not tolerate this sort of behavior. We do not tolerate any form of sexual impropriety, sexual abuse, or sexual assault, and we don't hesitate to take swift and severe action when these matters arise. And so, considering the severity of what was accused of Mr. Fritz, we thought that we'd best to take the decision to suspend him pending the outcome of a disciplinary inquiry.
Yeah. The former MEC saying now that his accusers are being permitted to hide behind the shield of anonymity, and saying the investigation in itself was wholly inadequate. Did he indicate this to you as the Federal Council, that he will be taking these findings on review?
No, he did not. As I said, our process was to give him 24 hours to give us reasons as to why he should not be suspended. And he could well have put those reasons to the party to consider. He did not do so. He chose instead to resign from the party as a member altogether. Of course, we cannot discipline people who are not members of the organization. I think that's a critical component here. But then he's put it into the public domain that he intends on taking this on review, as is his right. But when you consider that the Premier moved swiftly and appointed an impeccable investigator to look into the matter, I think that the Premier probably did do the right thing, and did it in line with international best practice now to handle sexual assault cases.
Yeah. Of course, he give reasons why he is resigning?
He did not give reasons why he's resigning. We just received a letter that he was resigned as a member of the Democratic Alliance, of course, as the provincial leader as well. That's all consequential of losing your membership of the party or resigning your membership of the party.
Yeah. So he's not putting blame on the party itself or being treated unfairly in the party as reasons for his resignation?
Not to the Democratic Alliance, no. He did not put that in writing to the Democratic Alliance. What he has or has not said in the public domain certainly was not put into any content that he's put to the DA. As I said, we gave him an opportunity. We said, you've got 24 hours to give us reasons as to why we should not suspend you pending the outcome of a disciplinary. Could have also chosen to make any allegations to a disciplinary committee of the party, headed by an independent Federal Legal Commission. And the Federal Legal Commission itself is headed by Glynis Breitenbach, who is a renowned former public prosecutor and lawyer, and so he would have been afforded the full due process had he chosen that route. He did not.
Yeah. Now, Ashor, you've already mentioned that these are serious allegations concerning sexual harassment, which the DA takes seriously. The ANC in the province are saying you're trying to manage this process politically, and you've been sitting on affidavits at the Democratic Alliance, or at least the Premier has been sitting on evidence that should actually be taken to the police, and this should now be a police matter to be investigated by the police and arrest being effected. What's the view of the party on how this matter is being handled?
I think it's quite rich for the ANC to have any commentary on sexual assault or sexual harassment cases, considering that they've protected some of their own members who have been accused of gender-based violence and sexual assault and so on. And if you look at the ANC in the Western Cape, their own track record with Marius Frans leaves a lot to be desired. The reality is this: the Premier was approached with allegations. He told the complainants, please provide me with affidavits. He received those affidavits on the 22nd of January. On the 23rd of January, he announced that he had suspended Mr. Fritz from his position as NEC and appointed an independent investigator to look into the facts. Now, we have provided all of the complainants with every opportunity the Premier has to seek counselling and support, of course. We have undergone this process in 5 weeks flat. We have reached an outcome that most corporations dealing with cases of sexual assault and sexual impropriety take longer. We certainly know the ANC and the government take forever to deal with these sorts of things. So we did it in 5 weeks flat. The Premier's process concluded in 5 weeks flat. We have had nothing to hide. We are even taking the investigator to the legislature tomorrow to attend a committee meeting of the Oversight Committee and the Premier, where the ANC and all other parties represented in the Western Cape legislature will be able to put questions to her. I don't think that's hiding anything or trying to politically manage anything. Yeah. As for the victims, they wish to make open criminal charges. That is their right. That is their prerogative. The Premier has said that he will support them if they choose to do so.
Yeah. Do you think that the nation would have been served better if this process was sitting with the police, so we avoid, for example, now allegations of not being objective and fair? So the MEC saying, for example, his legal representative was not present during the questioning of the complainants, or things like he was never provided with copy of their respective affidavits and so on and so forth. Don't you think this matter would have been served better if it's sitting with the police, because then that is a much more independent body in investigating criminality?
Look, the Premier of the Western Cape, as the receiver of the initial complaints, could not have himself referred it to SAPS, because the victims are the ones who have got to bear witness before a SAPS process. They have got to then, if there's court charges that emanate from there, they've got to appear before court. And in these cases, in many sexual impropriety cases, you've got to be sensitive to the needs of the victims. This is international best practice. It is their decision as to whether or not they want Mr. Fritz to face charges at SAPS. It is entirely up to them. It is not up to a political party to make that determination. Ours is to determine, in the government, the Premier's role was to determine if he was a fit and proper person to continue considering these allegations, and to determine if these allegations have any bearing on his job and if he did anything wrong in the context of his workplace environment. And an independent person was appointed to do this. A renowned legal person was appointed to do this and made findings. So this SAPS process can still continue, but it really has to be victim-orientated and victim-centered. And if you don't do that, then you are really going to find yourself in a lot of trouble, and you're not protecting victims. And we've got to keep that in mind. We've seen over the years, all over the world, corporations are sort of grappling with this, and lots of victims of sexual assault all over the world don't come forward precisely because they don't get offered the protection that they need. So we did do, I believe, the right thing in this process. And of course, Mr. Fritz is entitled to appeal it if he so desires.
Ashor, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. The Deputy Federal Council Chairperson for the Democratic Alliance, Ashor Sarupen.